Okay, gentlemen. So now we are in unit number 4, which deals with comparison contrast essays. Let's start with a question. What do we mean by compare? How can we compare things? Comparison is always done one with another. Means there should be only two things involved in any comparison. If you have more than two, it becomes superlative. That's the third level of the adjective. But here we'll use the second form of the adjective, positive and comparative. So we use the comparative adjectives to compare two things here. To start with an example, we have two cars here. One is a Corolla and another one is a Camry. You're all familiar with these cars, right? What comes to your mind? Like when you think about these cars, the first thing, it is manufactured by Toyota, and what's the country? It's in Japan. Both are the same, no difference. Is that okay? Then when you see what type of car is it, it is a sedan, and Camry is also a sedan. And what class is the car? This is an economy car. Means economy car means anyone can afford to buy it, not a luxury car. It's opposite of luxury car. And what about the let's talk about the power of the car. So Corolla, it's 1.6, and but a Camry is 2.5. So this is different, but this is similar. Okay. Now, do they have four-wheel drive? Both of them, they don't have. We need one, at least one with both negative, because we need to use a new a new term here to describe this. Now, what about the price? A Corolla costs around 70,000 and the Camry costs around 100,000. So this is also different. Like this, we need to do brainstorming and get all the points. Means it has to be a mixture of similarities and differences. How many? Let's say 4, maximum 5. And the difference also the same, 4 or 5. And when you talk about the similarities, one should be like no, both of them negative, because we are going to use here neither nor. So how do we start? Like we have some connectors, and with the connectors, with the cohesive devices, we connect them and make sentences. Is that clear? Now we'll have another example. Two types of classrooms. This is an informal classroom, and this is a formal classroom. See, guys are all very attentive, very serious looking. They are taking notes and they are very, very attentive. But here, look at the faces. They are casual here. See, the teacher is smiling, but still they are learning. Somebody is taking notes, and so they are casual, but still they are learning. These are two types of learning methods. Now, which is better? Can you imagine a class like this for, say, for example, engineering, which deals with engineering, or medicine? Will this suit? No. For this, Probably the guys are discussing dramas or maybe literature, or it's a poetry class or any other arts course, arts program. But the engineering of medicine has to be a class like this. So, can you say one is good and one is not good? No. One is good in that aspect and the other is good in another aspect. So, what do we find here? Here, the teacher has a formal style of teaching, whereas this is the informal type of teaching where the classroom environment is completely different. And see, look at the reactions. It's like more like a friendly relationship. Is that right? But here, the teacher is very, very serious, and so are the students. So for some courses, we have we can have formal education, but for some courses like arts or literature, we can have informal. So this is a comparison we make here. They are good in their own field. Now, to make comparisons, what do we need? The most important thing, we need the comparatives. We should know how to make comparatives with the adjectives. How do we make it? What is the root adjective? Long, straight, big, hot, large, tall. So they are one syllable words, one syllable with one vowel. So we add er, taller, larger, hotter, bigger. You need to check the spelling rule also here. Like if you have G, it's doubled. If you have T, it's doubled. If you have a long word which has more than two syllables or more, we should add with more, more famous, more honest. But here, be careful. When a word ends with Y, you need to cancel the Y and add IER. Okay? Like crazier, happy, happier. And look at these verbs. Three or more syllables also, we should have more. More beautiful, more expensive, more dangerous. However, there are some irregular adjectives which completely changes the word. It's not ER or IER. We use good, better, and the superlative the best. Bad, worse, worst. So these are irregular adjectives. So before start writing the essay, you should have a clear idea of this. Probably you should go through the adjectives, how they make comparatives, and then start. See, it's clear here. Like smaller words plus ER, and if it ends with Y, you cancel the Y and add IER. And if it's a word has got two or more syllables, we need to add more. And don't forget, whenever you use a comparison, need to use than after the adjective. Any comparatives, they always come followed by a than after the superlative comparative adjective. Fine. What is the second thing? The second thing, what we need is some cohesive devices, like for comparing, contrasting, adding, or illustrating. Of the four, these two are very important, comparing and contrasting. Why? Because when we talk about the similarities, we use this term. When you use the differences, we use these connectors. And these two are very important when writing an essay. This one probably we'll use, once or twice only in a paragraph. Same, for example, for instance, like in one paragraph you use for example. If you happen to use the second paragraph, use for instance. So two major things. Number one, the adjectives in the comparative degree plus the connectors, which are the cohesive devices which we need. Now, how do we use these connectors in sentences? Let's get some examples. See, here is a list of similarities, both like I have given something that you're very familiar with, Camry and the Corolla. So see, both the Corolla and the Camry are sedan cars. You want to use both again, you use it here. How? Like the Corolla and the Camry are both sedan cars. Number three, likewise, similarly. And here, when you use likewise or similarly, you need a comma after the connector. Then, number four, you use also. The Corolla is a sedan car. The Camry is also a sedan car. Same model. You have to say the Camry is a sedan car too. Okay. And number six, this model, the same design as. So these are the various models to describe the similarities. Similar to. And you remember I said that we should use one negative. No for both. Here you have to use neither. Neither the Camry nor the Corolla is a four-wheel drive car. Because this is singular, you need to use the verb is. Another model, the Corolla isn't a four-wheel drive car. The Camry isn't either, or neither is the Camry. So you can use either 8 or 9. And you better use this one as the last sentence of paragraph number 1. Clear? So similarities, this is body paragraph number 1. And make sure that you use, like if you're using both, use this sentence once only. Do not repeat the same model over and over. Clear? So I have given you how 9 different models to select, and similarities at the most you will write maybe 4, maximum 5. You won't go more than that. Clear? So these models you have to learn. These are the examples of sentences for similarities. Now, let's come to body paragraph number 2. Here, you talk about the differences. Can you use the same here, both similarly? No, we need to use the opposites, like but. So, the most important thing is you need to use the opposites of the connectors that we use for similarities. That's in body paragraph number 1. What are the opposites? However, on the other hand, on the contrary, in contrast, all of them have the same meaning and same usage. What are the meanings? It just means but, only. But we use different terms so that we show the essay in a different style. How do we write it? The price of the Camry is around 100,000 riyals. However, comma, or on the other hand, comma, or on the contrary, comma, in contrast, comma, any one of them. The Corolla costs only 70,000. See, here we use the price of the, and here we use cost. Don't again repeat this. In contrast, the price of the Corolla is only, no, that's not a good style. So you need to show a variety. So here we start with the price, and here we start with the cost. Okay. Now, however, on the other hand, on the contrary, the second model, like say the first part is the same. The price of the Camry is around 100,000. The Corolla, comma, however, comma, or the Corolla, comma, on the other hand, comma, same thing with on the contrary and in contrast, costs only 70,000 riyals. Clear? So this model you can use once and this model you can use once. Why don't you use like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No, show a variety. Impress the examiner that you know how to use a variety of sentences. So naturally, you will get more marks. Okay. Same thing, while and whereas. The same function. But when you use in the beginning, you need a comma between the first part and the second part. However, if you are using while and whereas in the middle, in between the first part and the second part, there is no comma. Be careful here. When you write paragraph number 2, be very careful with the commas. If you don't make a comma, the use of the connector may go wrong here. Clear? So, when you use however in the beginning of a sentence, there's a comma immediately following it. But if you are going to use however after the subject, there's a comma before and after. Similarly, when you use while and whereas in the beginning, there's a comma between the first part and the second part. But you use while and whereas in the middle, there is no comma. Okay, so you can use any one of them. Say, for example, you use one type, you use the second type, and use number 3, number 4. At the maximum, you'll use only 4 or 5. So before writing, they say make ample practice of these sentences. How do we make sentences with connectors? Now, let's look at the structure of this essay. As usual, how many paragraphs do you have? We need to have 4 paragraphs, starting with the introduction and finishing with the conclusion. It begins with the introduction and finishes with the conclusion. And in between, you have body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2. And as usual, introduction, it gives the topic sentence that this is the hook. And then it gives the background information. And then you give the thesis statement or the outline statement. So the introduction, make it 3 sentences. In case if you feel that the essay will cross like 275 or 300 words, you can safely drop this one, but don't drop the first one or the third one. Clear? But for a good essay, always have 3 sentences for the introduction. Now, let's move on to the body paragraph 1. Again, you start with a clear topic sentence, means you're going to describe the similarities here. So you give a topic sentence concerning the similarities. And then you present the similarities with the cohesive devices, like similarly, likewise, and also, to. And then you provide the supporting ideas. And paragraph number 2 has the same pattern. But here, the cohesive devices are different, like while, whereas, on the other hand, on the contrary, in contrast, while, whereas, on the other hand, all this stuff. So the same type here. And finally, draw a conclusion. You summarize and then you draw a conclusion based on the information. Clear? Now, let's take a topic. This is about the iPad and Samsung S7. So here we give the points, but in the exam, no points are given, just the title. So you need to spend 10 minutes for brainstorming so that you collect enough points. When you have the points, always make it balanced, like 4 or 5 similarities and 4 or 5 differences, so that we can make a balanced essay. Okay, now let's start with the screen. Apple iPad 10.2 and this is 10.4. So this is different. This is not similar. Resolution 2160-2000. So this is different. Yes, no, different. Pen, it's similar, but here it is paid and here it's free. So it's similar, plus there's a difference. Pen battery, no. Say both negative. So here it comes in paragraph number 1, similarities, but we need to use neither nor. And be careful, this can be the last sentence of paragraph number 1. RAM 3 GB, similarity. Storage, similar. LTE option, similar. Graphic card, similar, similar, similar. Here, different, similar, different, different. Now, if you have so many similar, I gave you many just to give you all the options. So no need. You just take 4 or 5 only. Or there's one more option. You can safely combine 2 in one sentence because both are similar. Okay. So what's the difference here between paragraph 1 and paragraph 2? Paragraph 1, you give only the similarities. But in paragraph number 2, what you need to do is you have to first explain and then you have to describe. How? For example, the price 1895 and 1400. So different. So when you talk about the price, what is the adjective? Expensive. So first you say the Apple iPad is more expensive than the S7. And then you explain while the Apple iPad, while the price of the Apple iPad is 1895, comma, the Samsung costs only 1400. Battery life 1311. So it has got longer battery life. Weight, this Samsung is 465, 485. So this is heavier. And screen resolution, like Samsung, it has got bigger screen, 2160. So it has got better resolution. So first fix whether it's similar or different, and then fix the adjective so that it becomes easier for you to write the essay. So first thing, what do? You explain. Like for example, the Apple iPad is heavier than the Samsung. Then you say the Apple iPad's weight is 483 grams, whereas the Samsung weighs only 465 grams. Is that okay? So first of all, you explain and then you write the difference in the sentences. Clear? And even here, these two, like graphics card and body, you can join. Now, let's look at a sample essay for this chapter, these points. This is an essay. I have given you 314 words, like to give you all the options, but you write only 250, means between 225 and 275. Clear? Now, look at the introduction. As usual, the first one is the hook, is a topic sentence. And here, this is the background information. And here we have the outline statement or the thesis statement. 3 sentences. Okay? And here, be careful with the tenses, has become, because we use the word recently. Okay? Have made. Okay? So this forms as the thesis statement or the outline statement. And background, we have 2 sentences. So after the introduction, you have a topic sentence, like there are a number of features that this thing share in common. This is the topic sentence for paragraph number 1. And now you come to the comparisons. Speed of both. The iPad possesses and so does. Similarly. And the last sentence you use neither nor. Okay. So I have used here 4 different types of sentences to 3, 4. What's number 1? The speed of both the devices is and the storage memory. You have put 2 points in one sentence, and then comes the graphic card. So you can mention one use of the graphic card. What is it? Like the graphic output of these devices has the same effect. Okay. And then when you talk about the camera, 8 megapixel camera, you say the iPad captures crystal clear images. Similarly, the S7 can also shoot pictures. Try to use different vocabulary, different words. Okay, here, clear, capturing, but here, shooting. They're okay. And the most important thing, the last sentence of paragraph number 1, you use neither nor, because both of them negative. Clear? Now, let's go to, so this is the introduction. This is the body paragraph 1, the similarities. And then body paragraph number 2, you talk about the differences. And again, we start with the topic sentence. There are, however, several differences between these two tabs that make them idiosyncratic. Okay, what's the meaning? Idiosyncratic means it's unique, special, one and only. So this topic sentence, see, however, I used in the middle after there are. So you have a comma here, a comma here. If you are going to use however in the beginning, there's only one comma. Like however, comma, you can say this one. But this, it gives a better impression, better style. So better you use this one. So the iPad has a larger screen and even its resolution is higher than S7. This makes the viewing comfortable for the eyes, and so the iPad can use for a longer time without getting the eyes tired. See, what is the use of this? First, you make the comparison and say, what is the benefit of this? And the next one, you make vice versa. You first say that this is the benefit and then you explain. See, moreover, the iPad has a longer battery life than the S7. How? While the iPad gives 13 hours, the i7 can only work only for 11 hours after full charging. So in the things when you consider the battery, iPad is much better. Then the last important thing about the price. So first you write the iPad is more expensive than the S7. And then you explain the iPad costs 1895 reals, full stop. The S7, on the other hand, costs only 1400 reals. Clear, guys? So how many differences have we discussed here? Number 1, larger screen. And then resolution. And then longer time. Longer battery life. While more expensive, on the other hand. All these connectors will give a very good idea about the essay. And then, as usual, we come to the summary. How do you make a summary? Will you say, in your opinion? No need. You just say that you give a summary. Like what have you written here? Similarities and differences, right? So you say, although there are so many similarities between these two tabs, the differences related to usage, price, and battery life make both unique in itself. Unique means something special. Nevertheless means however. Both of them are excellent to use, and so one can select either of them according to his or her requirements and budget. Budget means the money that you can spend. Requirements means what do you need this for. Clear, guys? So here in the summary, we have given a we have summarized what we have done in body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and then we have given an overall conclusion covering the complete essay. Okay, so this is a model essay. What are the possibilities? of getting a question. There are just two possibilities. Number one, you will get a machine. Number two, you will get an environment, like a surrounding, like a situation. Okay? Like what? These are the common topics, like traveling to Riyadh by train or plane, electric car versus petrol car, e-books or traditional books, fossil fuel, renewables, working in groups, working alone, YouTube versus TikTok, online learning, traditional learning, video games, physical games. So for these topics, you make brainstorming and collect all your points, like minimum 4 or 5 similarities, 4 or 5 differences, and then make comparisons and then write the essay. Is that clear? And like, for example, for 2 topics here, I'll give you the outline. Outline means the points. Okay? Start with that. And for the remaining, you make brainstorming and you get your own ideas. Okay, guys? And that's it. So now the ball is in your court now. Go back, sit, make brainstorming, make all the points, and then follow my model and come up with the essays. And you can mail to me or you can send it by WhatsApp. I'll correct and give my feedback. Okay, guys? Okay, bye and see you in another meeting, inshallah. Bye.